All right, everybody, welcome. This is Professor G coming to you live. By the time you get this, though, it'll be recorded. I am very, very excited to be able to be your professor for your fall course. Now, let me tell you what I'm doing here. I'm shooting this one video, okay? Otherwise, I'll get if I have to do it 3,055 times, I'm going to get tired and stale, and y'all don't want me tired and stale. Y'all want me fresh and crisp. So that being said, I'm shooting this one video for those of you who are in my Business 110 online course, which is Introduction to Business, my Business 139 online course, which is Entrepreneurship 1, or you're in my Business 151, either Section 1 or Section 2, which actually you guys in Business 151 Section 2 have enrolled into Business 151 Section 1, which is people skills, and we all need more people skills. So anyway, very excited. So I'm going to cover the general syllabus, which is pretty much 95% the same for all you guys. What's very different is the course assignment schedule worksheet, and I made a specific one for each one of those courses. So the syllabus, like I said, for 95% of what I'm going to cover is the same because it's my standard language, my standard expectations. The main project will vary whether you're in my 110, my 139, or my 151, but we'll talk about that. And then the course layout is going to be the same as well. So I'm going to cover this one time. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Matthew Gargano. My students call me Professor G, so feel free to call me Professor G. You can call me Matthew. You can call me Gargano. Whatever works for you. In fact, the younger kids call me G. I don't have a problem with that. I don't view that as being disrespectful since my last name does start with a G. So anyway, that being said, what can I tell you about me? I have been an educator for over 16 years. I love to teach. I love to learn. I consider it a privilege and an honor to serve you as a student in this way, to be able to introduce to you and create an experience for you to step into and unwrap that I'm very passionate about in the world of business. Again, whether it be Intro to Business 110, Entrepreneurship 1, Business 139, sorry, I got a little stuck there for a second, or People Skills 151, it's all part of business and it's all part of what I do. So in addition to being privileged to being an educator for over 16 years, I'm also a business owner myself. I have a professional, I own an S corporation. It's a type of business. And for those of you in Business 110 and 139, you'll learn about all different types of corporations. But it's an S corporation. It is a personal and professional life coaching, business consulting company. I'm also an ordained pastor. I'm also an author. I just authored my second book, and I'm a professional writer. Of the most important roles that I have is being a father to my one now grown son, Joseph. So that being said, the common theme that's woven throughout all of these roles and responsibilities that I have the privilege of operating in is people. I love people. I enjoy people very much. I very much, one of my greatest desires is to help people to identify and to step into their gifts and their talents and be able to operate in those gifts and talents and step into the best version of themselves that they possibly can. So I don't tell you all this stuff to be braggadocious. I say all this stuff to say that I love to be able to bring my experiences into the classroom experience. I love to create a living classroom. You know, when I look at the type of assignments that I create, for the most part, with the exception of the McGraw-Hill Connect, which are your weekly preps, and I do tailor and custom those to the degree that I'm allowed to, and they're actually very good. The other assignments that I do are really to bring to you, whether they be the future discussion posts, the case studies, the articles, and your final paper and presentation. Some classes have a presentation. It's really to bring the experience of the classroom to you. So I encourage you, ask me questions. The thing is, I've got my office hours, and we'll go through the syllabus in a minute. I'm also available virtually for you guys online via Skype and via Zoom. As a Johnson Community College student, you guys are entitled to a multiple downloads. It's either up to 3 or up to 5, but you're entitled to you're entitled to multiple downloads of Office 365. So the way you get that, if you're not already aware of it, you want to go to Johnson Community College website. You want to click on student email. You want to log in, and then up on the I think it's the I got to do this, the left and the right on the right-hand side, I believe, is the install button, and you could download that, again, as a student because you're logged in under your credentials. And with that, you get various Office products that are part of the Office 365 suite, which includes Skype for Business. So by having Skype for Business, I'm also on Skype for Business. You would just launch it, do a search, type in Matthew Gargano, and when I'm available, you'll see, during the office hours, I have it up. But you can also chat with me via, it's like a real-time text chat, or we can launch a video conference. It's a really cool, quick and easy and cool feature. So my point is, feel free to, reach out to me via email or during my office hours. Virtually, you're available. I'm available via Skype, also physically in person during my office hours as well. And I do make myself available. If my office hours don't work for you, we can come up with a mutually agreeable time. So that being said, again, I'm very excited and passionate about teaching and learning, and I want to help you to do better and to be better. We all should be on this continuous improvement journey of wanting to do better and be better so that we can step into the best versions of ourselves that we can. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'm going to pull up one course. So you guys should be able to see this. Let's see here. Okay. And I've got it in the student view. So, and again, even though I've got Business 151 up on the screen, this is the same flow or similar flow for you guys, whether you're in 151, you're in 110, or you're in 139. So obviously my instructor, I already covered that. There's a picture of me. There's my contact information. I also have my LinkedIn up there as well. But again, you contact me either via email, via phone, or via Skype. Skype is pretty cool. There's your syllabus, and this is where you're going to download. You should have done this already because that was part of the announcement that I posted Wednesday evening. So I had to think about that for a second. So you've got each course. Again, this is showing Business 151, but if you're in 110, it's going to say Business 110. If you're in 139, what's it going to say? 139 people? You got it. Business 139. And then each of you, I created a specific course assignment schedule worksheet. I really like those. They're very handy. I created them probably about a few years ago. It really seems to be a tool that students love to be able to keep track of their what assignments are due when. So you've got those there, and again, we're gonna go over those in a little bit more detail in a minute. Also, the student acknowledgement form. For those of you online, I do need that form back. Now, I have good news for you. You can either, as some of you have already done, and thank you for that, you can either go ahead and complete the form. There's an online fillable version, and then you can send it to me as a PDF attachment, or if you are unable to do that, you can read it and you can simply send me an email that says, excuse me, got a little stuff going on there. You can send me an email and say, and in the subject, here's the thing, y'all, and I put this in my syllabus. Please make sure in the subject of your email you identify yourself first with the course prefix and number. So if you're in Business 151, always put in the subject line Business 151. And whatever the section is, IO1, IO2, whatever. And then put your topic next to it. Here's the reason being, because I need to be able to provide you guys with the quickest and most accurate response. And And so this is going to help me help you by when I see that in there, you get bumped up to the VIP list. Say VIP. Say I'm a VIP. You are a VIP. And you get bumped up to the VIP list. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go searching for which section you are, and that may take a little bit of time, and that won't always guarantee a response. So part of business, not just business in general, part of just helping yourself and each other to do better, be better is we want to be efficient, we want to be precise. So always when you're emailing me, put the course prefix, that's the BUS, the number, and then the section number next to it. So you can also, getting back to this, if you're, whatever reason, having issues filling out the fillable PDF, you can send me an email, and simply in the email just say, and again, in the subject, course, business, number, and the section, and then course, student acknowledgement form. You can just put right in the email, I state your name, acknowledge that I have read and understand and agree to the terms that are listed in the student acknowledgement form. I will accept that in its place. So either way, please make sure you read the general policies. These are here for a reason. And then the announcements. Now here's the thing. Obviously, as I post announcements each week, they will be in the announcement section. So make sure you look out for those. This was the original announcement that each of you got in each of the courses. Obviously, you'll see a second one there once I post this up here. Make sure if you haven't already done it, you need to complete the enrollment verification quiz. Turn to yourself and say, Self, I got to do that quiz. Listen, it's not a graded quiz. It's not difficult. Like I said in my Start Here folder, it's not difficult. Sorry, either in the announcements or the Start Here folder. Let me see where I put it in here. In the announcements and in the Start Here folder, the enrollment verification quiz is not graded. It literally serves the purpose, let's go back to the quiz. It literally serves the purpose to count you as checked into the course. It takes the place of physically, so I also teach seated classes, right? I'm teaching 3 seated classes. So it's the same as in my seated classes, butts in seats, there you are, sign, initial, boom, you're checked in, right? This is your virtual butt in seat check-in, right? So what you're gonna do is by doing the enrollment verification quiz, you're checking into the course. It's not graded. Please don't spend a lot of time on it. It's gonna ask you some basic questions, related to the syllabus in the college. If you can't answer those questions, honestly, just do the best you can, because again, whether you get it right or wrong, it's not graded, but submit it, because then boom, that's your check-in. Because if you don't get checked in by the census date, which is 8/27, then you will be dropped from the course, and I don't want to see anybody dropped from this course. So get that quiz done, get on it. Assignments, here's where the flow is going to be the same, okay? You got your Start Here. Then you'll have a folder for weekly preps, case studies, articles. Now, here's the thing. For those of you in Business 151 and Business 110, you guys have a research paper and a presentation. You can read more about that in detail in your course assignment schedule worksheet. For those of you on my Business 139, you have a starter business plan. So this folder will actually say starter business plan, okay? But all the information is in there. Now let me tell you a little something. I've got all your weekly preps in there, okay? So if you click on your weekly preps, and again, it's going to be different based on which course you're in, but it's going to be the same flow. You've got each of your chapters already there. You've got the individual due dates. Here's the deal, everyone. I put all the preps out there so you guys got them for the whole semester. You can work ahead if you want to. They're available all to you now, but notice that you've got the individual deadlines. You have to complete them by the due date or they will not be available to you any longer, okay? So if we go back to assignments, you've got case studies due, right? I already created the first 3 case studies and loaded all the first 3 case studies for each of the classes. So obviously, again, in each of the classes, whether in Business 110, 151, or 139, you each have between 4 and 5 case studies due. I've already created and loaded and made available to you the first 3 case studies. They will be different because you're in different courses, but again, check the due date on that, okay? The other thing that I have here is the articles, okay? And again, depending on which one of my courses you're in, you're either going to have 4 articles or you're going to have 5 articles. I did already make available the first 3 articles for each of the classes. Now, here's the rub. Here's where it differentiates a little bit. Business 151, I've selected the articles for you. So in Business 151, when you select the articles folder, everybody has an article submission template. It's different based on which course you're in. But then Business 151, you already have your articles selected for you. Now in Business 110, your articles will come from the Wall Street Journal. I provided a Wall Street Journal link for you. In Business 110, if you need additional help on how to use that Wall Street Journal, you've got a couple options available to you. You could either, the best way to get a response is to contact the JCC library and to have them help you with that. You can either do that virtual. If you go through the JCC library, they've got an actual virtual librarian assistant. It's actually a real live person that can walk you through that. Or you can do a virtual Skype with me, for those of you in the Business 110. Now, for those of you in the Business 139, you are relegated to entrepreneur.com because that's really all about entrepreneurship. I provided the link for the entrepreneur.com. So Business 139, you're able to select any article within the entrepreneur.com website, and you'll have the article submission template. Business 110, you will be able to select any article within the Wall Street Journal that's related to business. That's the key word, Business 110, folks. There's some great articles out there, y'all, but if they're not related to business, then it's not going to help you. I'm not going to be able to count that. Business 151, you guys, I have specific articles selected for you. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Let's continue on here. Okay, and then like I said, you've got the research paper and the presentation if you're in Business 151 or if you're in Business 110. So make sure I've loaded all the content. I've loaded an instruction sheet. Make sure you understand it. If you don't, ask me about it. Business 139, entrepreneurship, you guys actually have a starter business plan that you will use an interactive website. I put the link, but I've also given you instructions as well. Okay, so that's that. Now, what I'm going to do, and you'll see this by Monday, is some people get overwhelmed by having everything there at once. So I try to accommodate everyone. For those of you who are just like self-paced, you want to get it all done, you're just like, give me it all, Professor G, I want it now. You got it, everyone. For those of you who like that, you got it. You got your start here. You got all your weekly preps. You've got your first 3 case studies, which will take you all the way until October 8th. You've got your first 3 articles. If you're in 151, if you're in 110 or 139, you have at it. But you're at least good in 151 until 10-1, and you've got all the information for your research paper and presentation. Now, for those of you who get overwhelmed by this, by Monday, what I will do is I will have created what I call weekly experience courses. Because again, I want you guys to think about your classes not like, I got a class today. I want you to think about your courses as experiences. I try to create experiences for people, whether it's when I'm teaching, whether I'm doing professional or personal life coaching, business consulting, workshops. I'm really big on creating an experience that you can step into and unwrap, and you could go into that experience and you could use your 5 senses figuratively and really have a multi-dimensional experience to be able to unwrap. So that being said, for those of you where this overwhelms you a little bit, you will see, in addition, underneath the start here, you will see a folder that'll say weekly experience folders. And then when you click on it, it'll be week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Obviously, we're into week 1, so that won't be applicable. But the weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What I'll try to do is load the first 8 weeks. So if this stresses you out and overwhelms you, just stick to the folders. click in the weekly folders, because all this that's due, I will link it within that folder. So you'll have two ways to look at this. The other thing is the discussion board. You guys already should know that you're able to start on your first discussion. So regardless of what class you're in, guess what? You're good to go. You've got your start here. You've gone over, you're reviewing your syllabus, you're reviewing your course assignment worksheet schedule, you're doing your student acknowledgement form, either fillable PDF or via email, the way I said. You're doing your enrollment verification quiz, which is ungraded. You've got your weekly preps available to you. You've got your case studies available to you. You got your articles available to you. You've got your final paper and presentation. If you're in 151 or 110, you've got your starter business plan available to you. If you're in 139, so you guys are gravy. Discussion posts, you click on the discussion post link, and like I said in my announcement, you need to read a word about the discussion post before doing your first post, okay? Make sure you read it, because here's the way it works. I require 3 posts from each student in order to be what I consider grade worthy. In other words, when I set up my post to be ready for grading, it has to have 3. The first is your initial post, and I talk about what that means. And then you have to respond in a meaningful way to at least 2 of your classmates. There's always an initial word count for the post, with the exception of your first post, okay? Your first post does not have a minimum word count, but moving forward, please make sure, because you will. And usually I require 200, 250 words, which is not a lot. You're going to love to write. So again, you could have the most amazing initial post in the universe, but if you haven't responded to at least 2 of your classmates in a meaningful way, then it's not considered grade worthy, and it doesn't get graded. You earn a 0. So please make sure you adhere to the criteria and read that. Now, the only exception to they're making everything available are the discussion posts. I do not make discussion posts available ahead of time. Here's why. Because I'll roll them out week by week, because one, from semester to semester, I look, and just like I kind of change up assignments and things, I do different discussion posts based on what I find currently going on in a variety of different ways, okay? So your discussion posts probably won't align to the textbooks, and you know what? They're not supposed to, because in my world, I like to mix it up a little bit, and I want to give you guys the biggest bang for your buck. And again, while you're unwrapping this experience, you're like, okay, I'm going to experience the weekly preps, I'm going to experience the articles, I'm going to experience the case studies, I'm going to experience the discussion posts. That's the way it is. So the discussion posts are the only things that will not be available to you all at once. It's week to week. Plus, you don't want stale discussion posts. Turn to yourself and say, "Self, I don't want stale discussion posts. You want freshly baked, out of the oven, tasty, delicious, nutritious discussion posts that you can partake in with your fellow classmates." So that being said, each Thursday, because that's when we start on our weeks, that's when those I'm looking at the time too. I want to keep this under 40 minutes. We're at 23. Each Thursday, I'll roll out a new discussion post. So stay on top of that stuff. Now let's look at the syllabus. Okay, so you should be able to see this. And again, depending on which class you're in, obviously it'll say Business 151 or 110 or 139. Please make sure you read this. This is important. I've already discussed my faculty, my faculty contact information. It's all right there. You guys will read the course description, student learning outcomes, e-textbook. Please read this information. It's very important, because you've already been billed as part of your tuition for the e-textbook, and we are part of the e-text program because it's actually a phenomenal program, because we're part of the e-text program, we're able to save a considerable amount of money and pass that savings on to you. So for example, where a book could normally cost $175 to $225, you can get it for $90 to $100. So it's a considerable savings. That being said, if you are to opt out of, if you don't want the e-textbook and you want to get a hard copy or loose leaf or whatever, it's your responsibility to opt out within 3 days of this course. So you need to do this by Monday. And then there's the link right there in the opt-out forms. as far as technology, please read all this. It's your responsibility to make sure your technology is working correctly. You're taking an online course, so you got to make sure your technology is working correctly. It talks about the preferred browser we get that in our syllabus directly from our tech support because they know best. So Google Chrome or Mozilla. Here's the tentative course schedule. Again, that's your individual. You each have your own individual based on the course. Your course assignment schedule worksheet. Here's the evaluation methods. It's the same for all four of my online courses. There's just the last part, like I said, either if you're in Business 151 or Business 110, you've got a research paper and presentation. If you're in 139, you've got a starter business plan. But all of you got weekly discussion posts, 20%, weekly preps, 20%, not weekly, but you've got articles, either 4 or 5, depending on which course you're registered in, 20%. And you've got your case studies, either 4 or 5, depending on which course you're in, 20%. And then your final deliverable, whether it's the research paper and presentation for those of you in 110 or 151, sorry, my brain got stuck, or the starter business plan, which is 20% for 139. I do this on purpose, right? Because I'm a big believer in experiential learning. Experiential learning means that you learn by doing. And I don't want one thing to make or break a student. And that's why I don't give quizzes or tests. So you got to be like, dang, Professor G, no quizzes and no tests. I never was a good test taker. And quite frankly, the evidence supports that the outcome of a test does not necessarily demonstrate that the student understands or doesn't understand the competencies of the course. So what do I mean by that? Somebody could do amazing on an exam or a test, but that doesn't mean that they understand what they learned. Conversely, somebody can do really bad, i.e. me, on an exam or a test, and that doesn't mean that they don't understand. So they're not, in my view, in my world, in my experience, they're not really the best way for you to demonstrate to me that you understand what it is that you're learning. So that's why I mix it up. Because I want to create as positive as a course experience for you as possible. This is really, really, really important. You got to make sure that all your Blackboard assignment submissions, they have to be submitted in the required format and in the correct Dropbox by the assignment due date in order to be considered, no exceptions. I don't do that to be difficult. I do it because, again, in order for me to serve you in the best way I can and be effective as your professor, and for you to get to learn what you need to learn and to do what you need to do, I got to keep this streamlined. We got to keep this train of knowledge moving forward. So that being said, I don't accept emailed assignments because it's not fair, right? In order to maintain an effective teaching and learning environment, it's got to be a teaching and learning environment that is fair. So if I accept it and make an exception from one, I've got to make an exception from others, and then my whole world is involved in mitigating exceptions rather than doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is to help you learn and to feel good about what you're learning. So that being said, that's the other reason why I spend so much time creating that course assignment worksheet schedule, because you got everything there. Follow it like your roadmap. But if you submitted the wrong assignment in the Dropbox, it gets graded as a 0. I don't accept late, incorrect assignments, incomplete assignments. You can't do it. No makeup assignments. I don't do that. As life does sometimes get in the way, and note the word sometimes, I do drop the lowest grade in each of the first 4 categories. So I drop the lowest weekly discussion post grade, the lowest weekly prep grade, the lowest article grade, and the lowest case study grades. I do not, I repeat, I do not, so don't ask, I don't drop any assignments within the research paper and presentation category for those of you in Business 110 or 151, and I don't drop any of the components in the starter business plan for those of you in 139. So that being said, you got a little bit of grace there. I believe in grace, right? That's why I kind of set up the class like this. So I get it. Sometimes, like, again, keyword sometimes, if you find life getting in the way all the time, then you need to take a step back and reevaluate. Life should not get in the way all the time. So that being said, there might be times where you're like, you know what, I can't get to this case study. I got something going on. Okay, so you don't submit a case study. You earn a 0, but then you know that I dropped the lowest grade in this case studies category. So the 0 is going to be the lowest grade and that'll be dropped. Same thing with the article. But I filled in those lifelines. And again, this is to make it fair for everyone. You don't have to tell me about it. I already added that that calculation, that formula is already built into the grade book. So you don't have to, in fact, don't let me know, because it's a minute of your life that you'll never get back and I'll never get back. And I'm already telling you it's built into the system. So I built it into your grade book so it knows, it constantly is looking for that. And again, this is just to be fair for everyone. I am not going to get involved in determining whether somebody's sick kid is more or less important than somebody's sick cat. I ain't in it. My name is Bennett and I ain't in it. So you guys have that. What else? Please make sure you go through the critical success strategies. That's very important. Regarding your emails, you must send me an email from your JCC student email account. Say to yourself, self, I need to send Professor G emails from my JCC student email account. If you do not send them to me via your JCC account, I will not respond to them. Am I being difficult? No, not at all. We have a federal law called FERPA, and it stands for something like Federal something, 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 Education something, Privacy Act. Basically what it says is it protects you as a student, that I am not allowed to give out any academic information about you being in my class, or even the fact that you exist in my class. So somebody can be trying to get information about you, and they can easily create a non-JCC email account and act like they're you. A helicopter parent. I'm guilty of, I used to be a helicopter parent. Or, over-involved person in your life. And then they say, hey, Professor G, I just wanted to know if, this question or this question, and if I respond back, then what did I do? I unwittingly gave that information, that person who's not you, pretending to be you, information, one, verifying that you're in the class by communicating and then talking to you about academic information that's private. So to avoid all that, again, in compliance with FERPA, I only respond to students who email me from their JCC student email. Otherwise, I can't do it. It's not me being difficult. Please make sure that you read the attendance policy. Again, you've got to check into this course by 8/27, and that's why I made the first set of assignments due by 8/27. And actually, I gave you guys, even though your assignments are due on Tuesdays for the most part, except there's exceptions there for a holiday. Some of you are like, oh my God, I'm used to them being on Sunday. But guess what, dude and dudess? I'm actually giving you more time, because if you look at your syllabus, I'm giving you like a week and 3 days. So for those of you who like stress out on Sunday because you got like every other assignment due, you'd be like, dude, baby dude, you got a few extra days. So you get a weekend plus. So that's what that's all about. But please make sure, because you are required to be active in this course. I do attendance by your weekly assignments that you submit. Just, at least one assignment has to be current for that week. Discussion post, a weekly prep, the article for that week, a case study, right? As long as you submit and you're active doing one of those things, then you're counted as present as a class. If you do literally nothing for that week, you do 0 assignments, which includes the discussion post, you're considered absent. And if you miss 12.5% of the course, then you'll be dropped. So basically, you want to think of it this way. 12.5% is for absences. So if you miss, in absences, we go by 1 absence a week. If you miss 4 weeks worth of absences for any of my courses that are online, then that 5th one, you're going to be dropped. And I can't communicate that with you. That's something that you've got to keep track of your own absences, okay? You've got to keep track of your course activity and your absences. Missing 1 or 2 weeks is not going to be an issue. But again, grade-wise, it's going to affect 1 week you get, your drops to lowest. But you know what I'm trying to say here, y'all. Missing 1 or 2 weeks, yeah, it'll ding your grade. Not the last week, because your big paper is due, or presentation. But my point is, you're not going to be in danger of being dropped. But you don't want to get up there close to that 4, and then especially after that 4. Please, in this culture today, civility and mutual respect, I'm grieved by the lack of civility and mutual respect that's going on in our country. So we need to change that, y'all. So here's the thing. When you're posting your discussion posts, you can disagree. And guess what, y'all? If you disagree with my point or I disagree with you, neither one's a racist or a bigot. I'm so tired of everyone throwing around, oh, you're a racist or you're a bigot or you're a this or you're a that. That's fascism, y'all. And look up fascism if you don't know what it means. Fascism is when you want to shut somebody down from having an opinion. Now, are there real racists out there? Absolutely. Are there real bigots out there? Absolutely. Are there real chauvinist pigs out there? Absolutely. But here's the thing: when you cry racism, when you cry that racism is under every rock or bigotry, then it really, what it does is it negates real racism and real bigotry. So I say this to say, I can get behind you as a person, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get behind something you believe in or something you agree with. And guess what? That's okay. And guess what? I can still treat you with mutual respect and civility. And guess what? That doesn't make me a racist or a bigot. Just like you can get behind me as a person, but you may not get behind or support certain views that I have or certain beliefs that I have or certain behaviors that I do. And guess what? That's okay, because that doesn't make you a bigot and that doesn't make you a racist either, right? We just differ on our opinions, on our beliefs, on our perspective, but guess what? That's okay. Say to yourself, self, that's okay to disagree. It doesn't make me a racist. It doesn't make me a bigot. Woo, that was a big load. So I say all this to say, you certainly can disagree with people's perspectives, with people's positions. Do it civilly and respectfully, and do it based on the evidence and the topic at hand, and do it again, respectfully. Wow, I really appreciate you bringing out your point about blah, blah, blah. I see that a little differently, and here's why, right? Again, but keep your discussion posts and your responses polite, civil, respectful, and for the most part, encouraging and constructively adding value. And you can do all that and still disagree, right? Plain and simple. Anyway, please continue to read the rest of that. I'm trying to keep track of time. Read the religious or solemn observance policy. And then finally, here is, and again, it's showing the one for business 151, but those of you in 110 have the 110 one available. Those of you in 139 have the 139. You've got the week that starts, and again, because of the semester, both seated and online courses started on Thursday, I made the weeks to keep things simple. Our weeks start on a Thursday, okay? They go from Thursday, they go from Thursday to Thursday, but to keep things simple, your week starts on a Thursday, but the majority of your assignments are due on Tuesday. You get not the next Tuesday, the following Tuesday. So for example, pull up my handy dandy calendar here. And I did it this way on purpose. So the week started on the 15th. You guys have look at this, a whole week and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a week and 5 days. That's why I'm saying, don't be like, oh my God. Don't be like, oh my God, it's not due on a Sunday. Dude, and do this. Again, I'm giving you more than a week. I'm giving you between a week and 3 and a week and 5 days, okay? Get your assignments in. So I give you plenty of time. And I do that so you have plenty of time to plan ahead. And so over here, I said there's a couple exceptions because we've got fall break coming up. So I don't want you guys working over fall break. You should be enjoying your fall break. So if you're like, Gargano, you got one assignment due on the 8th and one assignment due on the 10th, then dude, that's 2 days apart. Dude, no, it's not. Because again, you have all this available to you. And this assignment that's due on the 8th actually was available to you on or before the 26th of September. So again, you had a good week and 3 to 5 days. That assignment that's due on the 10th was actually available to you on the 3rd. So yeah, it's a little shorter, but you still have a good solid week there. Okay. I also tell you when there's certain weeks that there are no discussion posts. And then here's the more detail of your weighted assignments, what they mean and what they do. Again, go through your course. I'm excited to let me put this down here for a second. I am excited. I'm trying to see how far we did on time. I'm excited to be your instructor. Feel free to call on me. I want to be able to help you in any way I can. I want you again to think of each of these courses, each of these weeks as an experience that I prepared for you. I want you to step into, I want you to unwrap, and I want you to really take away some really amazing things. And on that note, y'all, let me get back to my, here we are. On that note, y'all, I am done. This is posted. Y'all have a great week. You know how to reach me, and peace out. Now I gotta find out where the little button is here at the bottom. Hold on now. Hold on. Where's the button? There it is. All right, y'all. Peace out. I'm excited. Be excited.